The instructions read, powder, shot, ramrod, aim, fire. That would have been better used on the pistols. One at a time, I poured the powder into the muzzle of the pistols. I then dropped the shot into each muzzle. Finally, I patted the contents down with the ramrod.
No pussyfooting around here, boys. I want to see some action. If you miss, you're not the man for me. Fire! Well?
I've been hit. Me too.
In any other situation, this would have been a tragedy, but it quickly became clear that a duel to the death wouldn't be conclusive when the duelists were both already dead.
Oh, neither of you missed? Well, sorry, boys, but I think that's a draw. What a terrible waste of everybody's time.
The small mahogany table held an assortment of paraphernalia for loading the pistols. Would you like a rematch of the pistol duel?
What a wonderful idea! Boys, guns on the table. Murphy, load 'em up.
One at a time, I poured the powder into the muzzle of the pistols. I then dropped the shot into each muzzle. Finally, I patted the contents down with the ramrod.
Remember, boys, if you miss, you're not the man for me. Fire! Well?
I've been hit. Me too.
Oh, neither of you missed? Well, sorry, boys, but I think that's a draw. What a terrible waste of everybody's time.
Good evening, Miss LaRue.
Why, hello again, Murphy.
Were you friends with Abigail Belmore?
Friends may be a bit of an exaggeration, but I'd seen her around at the debutante balls before she got engaged to that sailor. I mean, really, what was she thinking?
You don't think they should have gotten engaged?
What's the point? Mr. Rackham was an improvement. I do love the powerful.
I best be running along.
Ta-ta for now.
Hi there.
Keep walking. I don't have time to waste on you.
Miss LaRue, would you mind if I borrowed your parasol?
Don't be silly, Murphy. It's a beautiful evening outside. You have no use for it. But I'm sure I can be of help to you if the weather turns sour.
Walking into the cellar, I was hit by the pungent smell of rotting wood and mildew. 3 decades without upkeep hadn't been kind to this section of the house, and it was now knee-deep in floodwater. Decades of abandonment had taken their toll on the now flooded cellar. The wine racks were largely bare. What few bottles remained were cracked and empty. It was the wire from the lightning rods plugged firmly into the ground socket. It was the wire from the light. It was a small paper label used to mark which fuse was which. It was a small paper label used to mark which fuse was which. It was a small paper label used to mark which fuse was which. The wire had corroded into the fuse box. I couldn't budge it with my hands. Some candles sat on the shelf, perhaps for use during a power outage. I took the handful of candles from on top of the fuse box. Knowing the type of animals that lived in the murky water on this island, there was no way I was stepping into the floodwater. Wine racks adorned each wall of the cellar. Belmore Manor must have been quite the spirited place once upon a time. Wine racks adorned. The Belmore family's monogram was etched in gold on the shield. A grand piano took center stage in the room, vigorously hammered away at by the pianist. A machine I didn't recognize sat on the table next to the piano. I wondered if the pianist knew more about it. It was a battered suitcase that I deduced belonged to the pianist. Good evening. My name is Murphy McAllen.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Ezra Hughes is the name. Pianist for hire is the game. Got any events coming up that you can use a pianist at? I do weddings, christenings, bar mitzvahs, funerals.
You're still hustling for work? Isn't being a ghost an impediment?
Hey, when you're self-employed, you've got to keep that next paycheck coming in.
But you're trapped in the house.
Well, I admit I'm not normally based here, but Belmore Manor makes a lovely venue.
How's the gig?
It's the gig of a lifetime. Quite literally. I just didn't realize how short that lifetime would be. Still, I should be making out like a bandit at the end of it.
Why's that?
My contract says I charge overtime at time and a half. So far, we're 30-something years past my original end time.
Is there much to spend your money on when you're dead?
They say you can't take it with you. But I don't seem to be going anywhere at the moment, so why not find out?
You don't seem to have much of an audience.
Most have gone through to the ballroom for the waltz. Still, at least it means I don't have the Southern Belle from Hell hovering over me.
When you say Southern Belle from Hell, do you mean Tallulah?
That's her, the Black Widow of the Bayou.
What's wrong with her?
Well, she has a reputation, doesn't she?
A reputation for what?
Murder.
Tallulah is a murderess?
Now don't be getting me caught up in a slander suit, but behind those demure, blush cheeks is the mind of an absolute psychopath. She's been engaged 3 times. Each of her fiancés died in ridiculous circumstances.
Did she murder them for money?
That can't even be the motive. You'd think she'd go ahead and marry them, so all their worldly goods become each other's, right? But her family's already got more money than honeybees got buzz. And she finishes them off before they've even booked a venue. I think she just does it for the thrill.
Someone should really tell her about wing walking. Are you local to Devil's Rock?
No, New Orleans born and bred. Hard to grow up in the Big Easy and not fall in love with this music. Street performers in the French Quarter, brass bands on the balconies, parades at Mardi Gras. It's in the air down there.
So what brought you here?
Work. Figured I'd play a few gigs, make some cash. Next thing I know, I'm caught up in more drama than a Gilbert and Sullivan operetta.
Where did you find musical work here on Devil's Rock?
I got a full season contract down at the Calliope Theater. It was pure luck, really. The original pianist broke his arm.
How?
Before the renovation, that place was falling apart. 14 people in the audience watched as the stage gave out right in the middle of Claire de Lune. Pianist and piano falling straight through the floor into the basement.
Ouch.
Physically, he was fine. Emotionally, devastated for months.
Sounds like he went through a bad stage. Yardley Belmore was a performer too, wasn't he?
And more. Writer, director, producer, philanthropist. He's the one that bought the Calliope, fixed her up, and hired me. Once he came on board, that place got put on real shows.
Real shows?
Yeah, before Yardley put up the funds, they were so broke they had to rely on sponsorships. The final year, Bon Tom Bakery funded everything, with conditions.
Conditions?
The shows had to be on brand. Before Yardley put a stop to it, we were looking at 3 Shakespeare plays that season. Romeo and Baguette, A Midsummer Night's Cream Cake, and Much Ado About Muffins.
Do you know what happened to Yardley Belmore?
I haven't a clue. But you know what? I think I was one of the final people to see him alive.
Oh, really?
He came down to the Calliope to offer me this gig for the wedding, and I overheard him talking to someone backstage after I had finished rehearsing.
What were they talking about?
Well, after Yardley scrapped the baked goods from Romeo and Juliet, he was after ideas to bring something new to the story. This fellow was telling him about a place he'd found, an actual crypt. Such a missed opportunity, really. Can you imagine? Romeo and Juliet's tragic finale, played out in the Capulet tomb, the star-crossed lovers' final doomed moments in a real-life, honest-to-God crypt. The last thing I heard was them setting a date to check it out. And then, well, after that, no one ever saw him again.
Do you know who the man he was talking to was?
Rackham, I think you call him. Don't know where his interest in the theater came from all of a sudden. I'd never seen him in any performances.
Do you know where I could get some wedding music?
I take request. It's part of my contract for the wedding. What are you after?
I need some wedding music to play to Abigail Belmore, upstairs in her bedroom.
I might be able to move people with my music, Murphy, but there's no chance I can move this piano up to the 2nd floor.
What's the machine next to your piano?
That's my ticket out of hustling, a phonograph recorder. I'm going to compose and record a hit song, something that'll sweep the nation like those guys on Tin Pan Alley. I can record and release a song all across the country, and people will be able to hear me live in their living room.
But you're not live, or living.
That'll be how I market myself. Anthems by apparitions, hymns by haunts. The magazines won't give you the time of day if you don't have some way of standing out. If I'm dead, it's better to be composing than decomposing.
How does the machine work?
You just put in a blank record and press record. There's an old one still in there if you want it. It's too worn for me to use anymore. The records have a thin layer of black wax on the outside, and the machine records the sound as grooves in the wax. Keep an ear out for me in a year's time.
I should get going.
See you around, Murphy.
I took the record from the recording machine. With its outer coating worn away with age, it wasn't in a state to record onto. The pianist wouldn't have been happy with me rifling through his belongings. The candle wax looked like it might work as a replacement coating for the record, if I could find a way to apply it. I couldn't do that. The gardener's hunched frame and soil-stained overalls made him look like a gnome that had wandered out of a storybook. He appeared more comfortable with the company of plants than people. What a relief for the people. The wooden sign had the quaint charm of a handmade woodcraft, if it wasn't for the skull and crossbones painted on it. Of all the plants in the conservatory, there was only one rose.
I wouldn't do that if I were